You know that feeling, right? You're on a bike ride, everything's going great, and then, bam, you hit a nasty pothole or a car gets a little too close for comfort. And you think, man, someone should really fix this. Well, what if that someone was you? Today, we're going to dig into a really cool idea, using the power of community and a little bit of tech to make our streets safer for everyone. So, let's dive in.
To really get why this matters so much, let's just start with one number, 36.36%. That's how much fatal bicycle crashes went up in Michigan in just 3 years between 2012 and 2015. That's a shocking jump, and it tells you right away we've got a serious problem on our hands.
Okay, so this chart tells a really important story. See the blue line? That's the total number of crashes, and it kind of bounces around. But that red arrow? That's the one we've got to pay attention to. That shows fatal crashes, and it's a clear, steady, and frankly terrifying climb upwards. So even as more and more of us are getting on bikes for exercise or just for fun, the roads are actually getting deadlier.
So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at the rising risk that cyclists are facing. Then, we'll see how regular citizens are coming to the rescue with a pretty cool app designed to map out these dangers. We're also going to uncover what cyclists really worry about out there. And finally, we'll see how all this information can lead to smarter and, most importantly, safer cities for all of us.
All right, so let's start by really wrapping our heads around the scale of the problem. I mean, how popular has cycling actually become, and what does that mean for safety on our roads?
The growth has been absolutely massive. I mean, look at these numbers. The number of bike trips in the US more than doubled in just under 2 decades, skyrocketing from 1.7 billion all the way to 4 billion. That is a huge, huge shift, and it means there are millions more of us on roads that, let's be honest, were not always built with cyclists in mind.
Okay, so we've got more cyclists on roads that are getting more dangerous. Now, the old way of doing things, waiting for the city to do official surveys to find problems, is just too slow. But what if there was a way to speed all that up? This is where the whole idea of a community-powered solution comes into play.
And the key concept here is something called crowdsourcing. It's basically about using the eyes, ears, and, the real-world experiences of a huge group of people. In this case, the cyclists themselves, to gather information. Instead of having one city inspector trying to cover a whole city, you suddenly have thousands.
And hey, this isn't just some wacky pie-in-the-sky idea. It's a really powerful one. As researchers from Western Michigan University point out, technology is the missing link. It's what allows us to take all those individual reports from people on the ground and turn them into a clear, usable picture for everybody, including the city officials who can actually make the changes.
So how does an idea like this actually become a real-world tool? Well, this is where the theory gets put into practice, and it all happens in the form of a smartphone app designed to give power back to the cyclists.
The researchers didn't just write a paper about this idea. They actually went out and built it. They created an app, and they called it Bikeable Route. The mission is super simple. Let cyclists easily report road hazards the moment they see them, and in doing so, create a live map of all the danger zones in a city.
And here's what you see when you open it up. It's a real-time map dotted with hazards that other cyclists just like you have reported, so you can see where the trouble spots are before you even start pedaling. Think of it like a Waze, but specifically for bike safety.
Now, the best part is how easy it is to report something. You just tap on the map where the problem is, pick what kind of risk it is from a list, and then rate how bad it is. The whole thing literally takes just a few seconds.
And what's really clever is just how seamless this whole system is. So a cyclist sees a problem. They log it in the app, and get this, even if they don't have a cell signal, the phone just saves it. Then later, when it gets a connection, that report gets uploaded to a central database. And just like that, the map is updated for other cyclists, and a data file is created for the local city authorities. It's pretty brilliant.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. Because once you start collecting this much data directly from the people experiencing it, you start to learn what truly matters to people out on the road. And some of the results are what you'd expect, but some are pretty surprising.
So first things first, did people even want an app like this? Well, the answer was a massive, resounding yes. When they were surveyed, a whopping 92% of cyclists said they'd be interested in using an app to report these kinds of risk factors. So yeah, the demand was definitely there.
So what were the biggest physical problems out on the road? Well, it's the basics. The stuff that drives everyone crazy. Topping the list, potholes. No surprise there. Right behind that was the lack of dedicated, protected bike lanes.
And then pavement rutting. Those awful grooves in the road that can just grab your tire. It's all about the quality of the actual pavement they're riding on.
But it's not just about the pavement, and this is so important. This data shows that some of the biggest anxieties come from just having to share the road. The #1 traffic hazard reported, aggressive driver behavior, followed by high-speed traffic and just the sheer volume of cars. It's the human element that often causes the most fear.
So all this great data leads to an even deeper question. We know what cyclists fear in general, but is a hazard the same thing to a seasoned pro who commutes every day as it is for someone who's just starting out?
Not even close. The research found a huge difference depending on experience. Beginner cyclists, they were way more likely to see things like narrow lanes, speed bumps, and rumble strips as serious hazards. But the experienced cyclists, on the other hand, they were much less bothered by those same things. And that tells us that a safe street can mean very different things to different people. So, we have this incredible tool that's collecting all this super detailed data. But what's the end game? I mean, how does all this information actually go on to make a difference in the real world? This is the result. This slide is a map of Kalamazoo, Michigan, and it's populated with all that data from the Bikeable Route app. Every one of those colored dots is a hazard reported by a real cyclist. You can see instantly where the problem areas are, those hot spots where a bunch of issues are all clustered together. And this right here is the absolute key. That map is so much more than just a warning for other cyclists. It's an evidence-based roadmap for the city. So instead of just guessing where to spend money on repairs or new bike lanes, the local authorities can look at this data and say, okay, this street has the most reports. Let's focus our resources right there first. It's data-driven decision-making.
And this is about something way bigger than just fixing potholes. It's really about a fundamental shift in how our cities can work. By giving regular people a direct line to city planners, this kind of tech helps create what experts call livable communities. It changes citizens from just being passive residents into active partners, giving them simple tools to help shape and improve their own environment.
This whole project started with cyclists in just one city, but the potential here is massive. Just imagine this model being used everywhere, for everything from broken streetlights to unsafe intersections. It's a glimpse into a future where technology doesn't just make things more efficient, but actually more democratic. Which really leaves us with one final thought. What could our communities become if every single one of us could help build a safer city, one tap at a time?